Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Chris Hawkes, and this is Your Best Life Defined. How are you doing today? Did you wake up excited this morning? I doubt it. I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful if you've been listening for a while, you've gotten yourself on the right track and you're actually looking at some things and making some plans. You created some big story around some goal that you have, and you're feeling energized and you've been taking steps every day to achieve it. But the truth is, most people aren't actually ready for this story. Most people aren't actually ready for me. See, they're looking for a couple of guys to smoke some weed and kick it and just talk about dumb stuff. Most people aren't really looking to change their life, because the problem they face is, in order to change their life, they would have to actually change their thinking. And this brings me to the point, or the issue, the biggest misconception or the biggest fraud in the history of mankind, and that is the idea of happiness. Oh, that's some bold statement right there. I'm coming right at you with that one, right? Oh, who's going to call them happiness? It's the biggest fraud. What do you mean it's the biggest fraud? I'm going to explain. If I ask you right now, just take a minute, are you happy? You're going to say yes. Okay, most people do. There are a few people who are honest, that are trying to work to a better life, to try and create a better life, and that starts with being honest with yourself. But most people will tell me that they're happy, and the reason they'll say, oh yeah, I'm happy, it's because they are. But the issue isn't whether you're happy or not, it's the reason you're happy. See, I'm happy because I wake up with a clear slate. Most days, except for those days when I'm getting ready to move, I wake up and I have the ability to do nearly anything I want to do. We can go swimming, we can go sightseeing, we can go kayaking, we can go mountain biking. The list is endless. But the other way that we find happiness, and let me just back up here. If that's your story, if your story is parallel to mine, don't waste another minute of your day listening to me talk. If you're waking up every day and everything in your life is like friggin' Christmas Day, you're just jumping from one amazing thing to the other. You love your job. You and your partner are best friends, and you collaborate on all kinds of crazy ideas, and you support each other and you lift each other up. You don't even need to waste your time with this. But if you drug your butt out of bed after drinking too much beer, too much wine last night, your feet hit the floor, and there is not going to be a minute in the next 7 days that you get to sit around and just laugh and think about how amazing your life is, it's probably because your life isn't that amazing. Now, that's a tough reality. Everyone, I'm living a great life. I'm successful. Whoa, yeah, look at my Facebook page. Look at how great my life is. Bullshit. All right, sound like an ass chewing? I don't know, maybe it is, I don't know. I think I've earned the right. If you're going to listen to me, I'm going to keep it real with you. So let's talk about this idea of happy. Forget about happy. Because what the marketers have done, what the world has taught us, what we've been instructed to do, is to chase what makes us happy, to do what makes us happy. But if that were actually the truth, because that's what's being sold, I mean, look at the cars and the houses, everything you buy, everything you want, it's all created around this nice little package, this nice little bow-tied package, a little bow on it wrapped just right that says this will make you happy. We're seeing it right now with the presidential election. This was what make you happy. Two corresponding views on what happiness looks like, and we're choosing between one of either. And I'm thinking, I don't know, none of it makes me happy. So you see the bullshit in that. You bought that house, it would make you happy. How do you feel every day? I talk about that, and people are like, I'm fine. It's not because you feel like you do when you go fishing or when you're on vacation, and you can be on vacation as long as you want, or you're like me and you get to wake up with an empty slate. You can do whatever you want. That's not what I'm talking about. The other reason we find happiness in this life we create is because we don't have any other choice. Think about it. What other choice do you have to change your life or to do anything different in your life? You don't have the energy, don't have the time to go start playing golf. You don't have the energy or the resources to go move to the Caribbean or to buy a sailboat and sail around the world. You don't have the time or money. You don't have the money to take 2 days a week off and only work 3 days a week and spend the 2 days doing what you want, or the 4 days a week doing what you love. You could, if you had more money, you'd be okay, but you don't have the time or energy to go back to school to become a nurse. You don't have the time or energy to go back to school and become an engineer or to change careers into one of these careers that are more demanding. Because let's face it, if COVID hasn't taught us anything, online sales is booming. If you are inclined to want to do something to improve your position, you could get in with any of these companies, Amazon, United Parcel Service, doesn't matter what it is. You could jump into this and you could make a mint, because the need to deliver packages is just going to continue to grow. But in order for you to do that, you can't look at what makes you happy, because it isn't going to make you happy to have to think about the prospect of changing jobs, or even worse, change in locations. Can you imagine that in order for you to start doing something or to advance your career or to see some opportunities, you have to pack up and move to some other location? Oh, all that stuff, dusty boxes, all that crap you've accumulated. Who wants to do that? As long as you chase happiness, you're fine. As long as your gauge for happiness is, you're fine. Because I've mentioned this before, it's worth saying again. Did you know that inmates in federal prison are relatively happy? Yeah, I was surprised. I used to work in the federal prison, and in 2017 was my big transitional year. That was the year that I really started trying to understand what this thing was and why it's created and why we all seem to make the same choices. And what I came up with is that happiness is it's a way to accept what you don't believe you can change. What are you going to do? Walk around pissed off because you're in prison? And that's what one guy told me. He said, Chris, he goes, he tells me, boss. He goes, hey, boss. He goes, because I asked him, I says, how can you be laughing? You got a life sentence. He says, what do? You walk around pissed off at everybody? You burn up your daylight being mad and angry in prison? It's already bad enough I'm in prison. And then you appreciate and embrace the things you have. This is why it's so difficult for us to step away from this choice, because there's no one out there who owns a house, a car, has that life is miserable. You're not miserable. And it's only either by identifying a new path and saying, okay, I can do better. Not about being happy, because taking your life from where it is now to where you want it to be is not an easy road. It isn't going to make you happy. There were a lot of times Sandy cried in the process of getting rid of all our stuff and moving our life from a conventional home to an RV. It was scary. It wasn't fun. There was not a lot of happiness involved in it. We had those moments. We were energized and excited about our dream, but there was a whole lot of hurdles that didn't feel that good to get where we are right now. Had I just hung around on the word happy, on the idea of being happy, I'd still be in that big-ass house. Today's a holiday. Monday, I'd be taking care of something, fixing some door, checking the plumbing. There's a leak in the basement, pulling weeds, getting ready for winterizing. I'd have been taking the swamp cooler out of the window, trimming, breaking leaves, doing all that crap. Was I happy doing that? Well, I was happy until I found something better. I'm not happy raking leaves now. I'm happy polishing my rig because I take pride in my home. You bought that big truck because it made you happy. Did it make your life better? You had to have those big wheels, the big rims, all that money for the lift kit because it makes you happy. Did it make your life better? See, the gauge for a better life is you spend more time doing what you love than what you have to do. You spend more time doing what you love than what you hate to do. If you're at 51%, if you spend 51% of your time doing shit you love, you win. If you spend 5% doing what you love, you win. Add 3% of your time to what you love during any given week, and you win. And it's a slow process. It starts with walking. I love walking. I love running, but I can't run anymore because my knees are bad. But it's bullshit. Hey, this will make me happy. Why'd you buy it? Well, I'm happy. Well, of course you're happy. And what you have to do to live your best life isn't going to make you happy because it requires focus. It requires looking inside yourself and asking yourself questions about who you really are, what's really important to you. Sure, you like nice stuff, but do you want your stuff to keep you from fishing, to keep you from hanging out camping, to keep you from being able to spend time with people you love? To keep you from sleeping because you have a pile of debt? You have a stack of bills on the counter and you're afraid to have that conversation because it sucks? Because every time you do, someone cries and you realize how bad it is? And God forbid we should have to make a decision and suffer some struggle. Get some calluses on our hands. Get some calluses for life. Happiness is the wrong gauge. Happiness is the reason babies cry. They want to be happy. They don't want to work for it. They want to be happy. Make them happy. Make them happy. Yep. When you start making yourself happy is when you're going to start being miserable. When you start making your life better is when you're going to be living the life that fits you. You know how you can tell when you're living an amazing life or you're living a life that fits you is that you handle all your business within that life. If you have that house and everything's taken care of on the house and you don't mind working on the yard and you enjoy fixing doors and you don't mind polishing the cars and that's all you want in your life, you are right there where you need to be. You are in your zen. But if you're doing those things and you're thinking about other things that you want to do, if you're doing those things and wish you didn't have to do those things, happy or not, I'd find something else to do. I'd find a way to escape that. I'd find a way to step away from that for that thing that I keep thinking about while I'm doing that. It only makes sense. It only makes sense. See, I don't oppose the idea of the house. There are people who belong in a big house with a big yard with all the stuff. But certainly not everyone. Certainly not everyone. And no matter whether you make that choice or not, do you really want to spend your life in debt so that you can't make any other choices that come along? Because my life has changed. My thinking has changed. It's not always about being happy. Happy is the end result from a whole lot of struggle. And the happiness that I'm experiencing in my life has longevity. We've been on the road 4 years, and this life still makes me happy. And the reason it makes me happy is because it's built around the things I love to do, the person I am. And in order for that to happen, I couldn't take the advice of someone else, some realtor, some car dealer, my friends and family who want me to be just like them. I had to look at myself and say, what do I want? As soon as I started looking, guess what I see? I see a guy who loves the excitement of new things, new experiences, new adventures. I love the challenge that comes with living in a fifth wheel, pulling a fifth wheel, doing all these things we do. And I love the freedom of being able to choose anything, nearly anything I want to do. And my partner, Sandy, she's right on board. And it makes me happy. But it's only by accomplishing those goals, it's only by struggling that I get that. It's not an immediate thing. It's a whole collection of things that create this thing I call my life. You can do the same exact thing. You can wake up today. You can start right now. You can start right now by defining what you want your life to look like. Pick one thing in your life that you would like to have. One thing you would like to change about your life. And it has to be driven by who you are and what you love. Or in the other case, it has to be driven by what you don't love. If you're not out there rocking it, loving all that yard work, then ask yourself some serious questions about what you would love to do with that time. And then make it happen. Talk about it, share your story with the person you love, and start changing your life. Because if you just base it on happiness, you're already there. You're right where you're supposed to be, whether you have chosen or you accepted it. So keep that in mind. As always, just remember that, I really appreciate you guys showing up every day. Thanks for the follows. Thanks for the likes. I am going to continue to show up. I will be here. I will be seen. I hope you'll do the same. I hope you'll start today grabbing a hold of the things you love and the life you deserve to live. Until next time, just remember, today is your day. Make it a good one.